I'm Elliot, a writer and marketer. 2 years ago, I found myself recovering from the doldrums of the pandemic, living a very sedentary life. I knew I needed a change, so I signed up for my first triathlon. I really got obsessed with it and completed 3 sprint distance races over 10 months. With each one, I felt more comfortable, confirming that I was ready for the next step. I'm ready for a new challenge. So, entering 2024, I signed up for my first Olympic Distance Triathlon in Vancouver. In those earlier races, I sort of improvised my training plan, doing what I could when I could. For the Olympic distance race, I wanted to take a different approach. I wanted to commit to a structured plan and see it through. This led me to a new project. Project Be Consistent. You see, when you're training, life often gets in the way. It's easy to find excuses not to stick to the plan. I've been there. But for the next 8 weeks, I'm determined to commit fully to my training. I believe that staying committed will be just as challenging as the race itself. Will I be able to finish this project and arrive at the start line healthy? How will life interfere with my training, and will I be able to recover? What gains will I achieve from this project, and will the training be enough to help me reach the finish line? In this episode, I'll share my experience with the 8-week training plan. In part 2, I'll cover the trip to Italy I have planned during my taper week and my carb loading process. Finally, part 3 will focus on my experience racing in the Vancouver Triathlon. Hit subscribe to stay updated when these next videos launch. Now, join me as we find out if I have what it takes to complete my first Olympic Distance Triathlon training plan. Week 1. The first week started off easy, with a long ride outside followed by a quick 10-minute run to the brewery, just to celebrate the kickoff. But things quickly ramped up on day 2 with a strength workout that left my core and legs aching from planks and lunges. I've been neglecting those muscle groups. I mixed in some indoor rides, not on the plan to recover, but still my runs and swims felt really sluggish this week. Definitely a lot of work ahead in those areas. My one key indoor ride this week was made more challenging when my fan ran out of battery. Not great for a hot day. Despite the challenges, I was happy to get moving and enjoy the nice weather, even getting out to some community events. I pushed myself as much as I could, knowing that while the week felt easy at first, the fatigue would start to build. Week 2. It was a busy, hot week, but thankfully, I managed to fit everything in and survive the heat. I didn't do any extra training on the bike this week. Not that I needed it. Just what was on the plan. Nothing more. The week started with a solid run as I continued working on building speed. The weekly strength workout left my glutes aching, though my core felt fine, which was a good sign. These strength workouts might just pay off. I enjoyed some great outdoor rides this week, including commuting to work. The swim, however, was tough, and I struggled to get faster, realizing that my aerobic endurance had waned. This became clear when I swam in a 50-meter pool for the first time in months. I crashed my bike a few months ago, and my previously injured right arm felt sore, leaving me a bit concerned about the process. I ended the week with a long ride followed by a challenging 15-minute run off the bike. My calves tightened in the transition, and I have a feeling that the soreness will stick around for a day or two. The fun part of the training plan might just have ended. Week 3. The week started with an easy ride to work, giving me a bit of recovery. Up until Thursday, it was relatively light, but then came a strength workout and a tough swim. By Friday morning, my legs were sore again. Those lunges always gets me. And to top it off, I had an interval run scheduled that day, which led into a weekend packed with most of my workouts. This week was definitely back heavy. I had hoped to use it for recovery and to feel fresh, but instead, it was a roller coaster within just 7 days. It really makes me appreciate the moments when I do feel good. Surprisingly, the hard run wasn't so bad in the moment. but after resting at home, I noticed pain in my right foot whenever I put weight on it. On Saturday, I pushed through with a ride out to a swim, which was so enjoyable, though my foot was still sore whenever I put weight on it. Cycling and swimming was fine, but there was no way I could run. I decided to modify my Sunday's planned 90-minute ride and 20-minute run, opting for just the ride instead. While it's improving, my foot isn't anywhere close to ready. I had to shuffle my schedule for next week, but I'm hoping to run by Wednesday. If not, it's going to be a real disappointment, and my whole project to be consistent is in jeopardy. Week 4. I finally had a much-needed do-nothing rest day, which was absolutely necessary. My foot is improving, but after a 20-minute walk, I can still feel it giving out. Despite this, I'm hopeful and noticing progress. It's surprising how random this injury is. I can't pinpoint what caused it, just a classic running issue. On Wednesday, I went for a slow run, and my foot felt okay. However, when I increased the intensity on Friday, I felt a twinge of pain towards the end of the run, with about 3 to 5 minutes left in the workout. The amount of running in my schedule is quite demanding, and I'm starting to rethink whether I should swap some hard interval runs for bike rides to give my foot more time to heal. No, I couldn't swap anymore, otherwise my whole training plan would be out of whack. took it easy towards the end after a long ride with some hills gradually pushing my limits. I did one more run this week, a run off the bike. The foot felt good overall, just a little niggle, but I managed to get through without making anything worse. I capped off the week with a fantastic open water swim, and I'm feeling positive about my body's ability to recover and the progress overall. Week 5. This week is shaping up to be quite unique since I'll be heading out of town this weekend and I have the Olympics to occupy my mind. While I want to fit in as much as possible, it's also a good opportunity for some recovery. I kicked off the week with strength training, focusing more on my right arm and my ankles. Naturally, I got really into the pistol squat. I follow all that up with a solid, long swim, really pushing myself in the pool. The highlight of the week, though, was following the Olympics and wondering if the triathlon would happen. After the first canceled race, messing up my sleep schedule, I was committed. I stayed up until 4 a.m. the next night to watch it, and I'm thrilled it all worked out, especially with Alex Yee's inspiring win. The next day, a little sleep deprived, I did a 45-minute run and surprisingly felt great with no pain. The day after, I tackled a cycling workout, but my legs felt really tired. The accumulated fatigue from the past few weeks and that late night had caught up with me. So much for recovery. I wrapped up Friday with my VO2 max run and felt really accomplished. Now, I'm gearing up for the weekend away and an opportunity to swim in Cow Lake out in the Okanagan. This made it a notable week in my training, and I hope to one day do a triathlon out in this part of my province. Week 6. I returned from the trip and it's August long weekend, so I took a day off from work to get back into my routine. I went for a ride to a pool further out in the city that I haven't been before. It was a nice change. This week was run heavy as I tried to make up for a missed run from a few weeks ago. Although I'm feeling tired, I'm still managing to get through the workouts. I've scheduled some maintenance, including a massage this week and a physio next week. I think this is a good idea as the training plan is coming to an end. The massage was much needed after all the running this week. Even though it may not seem like a lot, everything's adding up, and after a tough run on the Friday, I felt completely spent. On Saturday, I had my open water swim on the race course in Second Beach. This was a great swim. We ended up walking home from the beach, and I took a 3-hour nap feeling confident but tired. I wrapped up the week with a 90-minute bike ride followed by a run, and that day, it was clear that I really needed rest. Not because of an injury, but due to the sheer volume of training. I'm exhausted, but I'm also at a crucial point where most of my gains can happen. As we approach the finish line, I need to carefully balance pushing hard with avoiding injury. Week 7. Here is where consistency gets hard. It's easy in the beginning, but now it's all about fitting in the tough workouts and finding time to recover. When training stops being enjoyable and starts feeling like an obligation, it becomes hard to stay committed, especially when you're tired and busy. On the bright side, I managed to sign up to go swimming at the Kitsilano Pool, which is the longest outdoor pool in Canada. I didn't think it would happen this year because it was under repair, but I have it all set to do that on Friday. Then, on Thursday, my rest day, I woke up early to visit the physio about my right elbow, which has been sore since a crash in April. The physio suggested that scar tissue might still be present and needed attention through stretching and rolling. I returned home, expecting to start work, but instead, I got laid off. At least my elbow was getting better. After the initial shock wore off, I felt that triathlon training was trivial and considered giving up on the entire race, even though I was so close to finishing. I really fell into a funk those few days. I got a chance to swim in the outdoor pool at least once this year, but The joy of it was dampened a bit due to all the sudden stress I was under. There was a lot of time now to think, and naturally, I went down some negative spirals. On Saturday, with a 90-minute bike ride and a 20-minute run scheduled, I was reluctant to train. However, with my wife's encouragement, I decided to go for a 10K run, moving my easy run workout from Sunday to Saturday. I realized that triathlon training, which I had previously viewed as a reward for finishing my work, is actually something I need to maintain my emotional well-being, regardless of employment. It's a crucial outlet for me, and without it, I tend to fall into a dark place. It's not a reward. It's essential. Week 8. This week was tough for motivation. I was exhausted and emotional, and though I should have been looking forward to completing the workout plan, I just felt worn out. I should have been excited about finishing up, but I struggled with the last few workouts. despite the fatigue and stress of getting my life back together and preparing for a trip to Italy, I managed to get everything done. Training for the triathlon didn't feel like a top priority, but it provided a welcome escape. Once I was outside and moving, I felt better, though still tired. Now, I'm ready for taper week. I think I really need it. So much has happened in my life over the past 8 weeks, and there's so much more to come. I have big plans, but first, I need to tackle a few key events. The first is a trip to Italy, not just to attend a wedding, but also to focus on carb loading. Following that, the race is right around the corner. As soon as I return from my trip, I'll have 2 days to prep for that. That's right, a lot more to come. Stay tuned for the next part in this series, Project Be Consistent, as I dive into my Italian adventure, where I'll be carb loading and tapering for the big race ahead. How did it go? Is it as easy to carb load in Italy as it sounds? Can I actually get enough rest to finish my race after traveling? Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode. And check out this playlist for more of my endurance sport journey.